everybody. It is so nice to see you or be seen again, however you want to look at it. Um, we are here for another sponsor spotlight with one of our fantastic sponsors for the EP Mixer DC. We're here with Josh Sullivan from Discreet Security Services and Investigations. I'm very excited. We've known each other for quite a while. We got some similar background in schooling and stuff, and he decided to sponsor. I couldn't be happier. Josh, thanks for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh man, it's always my pleasure. And I say that, and that hit me right as I was kind of coming into it. Is like we're both EPI guys, right? Is that?
No, I'm not. I'm actually not an EPI guy.
All
But
right, never mind. We're done. No.
Yep.
No,
different sponsor.
Right. No, but we are both. Well, I should say this: we're both A.L.I.V.E instructors, but you are, and I didn't plan on getting into this either, but we can start here. You are the other master instructor for the A.L.I.V.E Active Shooter Survival Training Program. And your counterpart is Mike Julian, of course, the founder, who's on the West Coast. You're an East Coast guy.
Absolutely.
All right. I've made the announcements now. Let's hear how all this kind of happened, right? Let's talk about Discreet. Let's talk about what you're doing and where you are, how A.L.I.V.E happened. Let's talk about all of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're based about 20 miles outside of DC to the south in Maryland. Hop, skip, and a jump from both Northern Virginia and the district itself. Discreet Security Services and Investigation started in December of 2020 is when I founded it. The co-founder is my father, which I brought into private security about 15 years ago, when he just kind of wanted to do something with me and kind of thought it was cool and wanted to do it. So he is a retired Air Force guy. He's an old man, but he still works for the government full time on Andrews Air Force Base, and he's in charge of the hazmat shipping and receiving and all that stuff for the entire base. And pretty cool little job he has. But getting closer and closer to retirement and being eligible for the past 10 years again, he kind of wanted something to fall into and kind of keep busy, because he's one of those guys that he's going to work until he dies, and I'm the same way.
Right.
So when I left, so long story short, 16 years old, joined the fire department in Prince George's County, Maryland. Became a firefighter EMT when I was 16. Still an active firefighter EMT to this day. I've been a couple different departments. I'm currently at the department in the town that I live in Calvert County, Maryland. And it's a passion. I've been driving and riding fire trucks for 23 years now, or a little bit more than that. But when I got my EMT at 16, it led me to be able to be a corrections EMT, or what they called a medic. At the age of 18, I got a job at the jail, and kind of started immersing myself in the law enforcement world and kind of seeing how it worked and all that kind of stuff. And from there, I never looked back. I tell people to this day, I regret I got a job offer from Prince George's County Fire Department and corrections stuff at the same time, and I took the corrections stuff, and I would be eligible for retirement tomorrow, or like anytime now, this year. So made a mistake there, I think, but it led me to doing a lot of contract work for the feds. I actually was heavily involved with diplomatic security, doing contractor work. And it led me to get a really cool background. My niche was kind of EMS, starting off as an EMT or a team medic. But then I actually landed in a canine. So I did some canine stuff and was in charge of a lot of canine teams, set up the Saudi embassy and ambassador's residence program, amongst other big projects. And it just kind of it got me rolling. So when it was time, and I had some clients lined up that wanted me to be able to provide service not through other people, and I put the time and effort in, and we started the company and never looked back. That's where A.L.I.V.E came into play. When I started the company, I realized that there was a niche, and there was a need for training for the average person, not just security, private detectives, that kind of thing. But for active shooter training, right? How do you prevent it, and how do you survive it if you can't prevent it? So I did my research. I was at the Navy Yard during the shooting there, so I kind of have some personal experience. And my sister was at the Chattanooga, Tennessee Hamilton Place Mall shooting. So one of the things I remember is she called and said, "I don't know what to do," and I didn't know what to tell her. Right? I could have told her what to do from a law enforcement perspective, or what to do from a EMS perspective. but I didn't know what to tell her from an unarmed civilian standpoint. And I didn't want to have to ever be in that position before again. So, I found the program. I looked at a lot of programs, and the A.L.I.V.E program was, I mean, it's the best there is in my opinion. Went out. I actually, right before COVID happened, I went to the one of the first in-person instructor classes in California, and then it was a whirlwind and a blur since then.
Sure.
Mike trusted me enough to bring me on as his number two, as the master instructor of the program, so I can teach other people to be instructors, and I fly all over the country and teach the program to people as well. So, um, it's a great program. I am invested in that program heavily, both time, effort, and blood, sweat, and tears, and it saves lives.
Mhm.
That's a big part of what I do for my company as well. So Discreet, we have 4 tiers. We have private investigations, armed and unarmed security or patrol work, executive protection, and then we are a huge into public safety training. So as you see, this is who we call Earl behind me. It's one of the many things is we do taser training, all the non-lethals. I'm an Axon instructor and a Safari Land instructor, and we teach people how to be security guards. We teach people how to be private detectives. We teach people how to do EP. This year we're actually, one of the things you said about being excited for is we're offering our first Maryland Executive Protection Practitioner course.
Oh, all right.
So in the state of Maryland, you have to be a private detective to do EP.
Sure.
And there's EPI, there's ESI, there's all the I's out there, and they're great at what they do.
Uh-huh.
I'm a big fan of Jerry at EPI and all of his instructor cadre, and but there's times where you can get the same quality training without having to go to one of those places, just to kind of get your foot in the door and then keep your education going, right?
Mhm.
Never stop learning, take every class. Actually, Jerry and I have been talking for the past couple months about me coming out and taking EPI course just to have, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Nothing hurts to add to your abilities and your skill sets and information to have. So, we're doing a full 8-day course, and then it's a 2-day add-on if they want to be armed in the state of Maryland doing it as well. We're really excited about that, but it's been a whirlwind. We talk offline, and we're both slammed right now for business. Business is good, and it's a good time to be in the industry and be able to help people.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. Funny. You kind of wrap it up with that is it's like been part of the industry now for about I always say about 20 years, but it's about 25. And it's never felt like how it feels now to be in it, right? And especially those coming into it, they don't have the same appreciation. I don't mean that in a negative, they just don't know what it was like before.
Right.
And now there is this big, this it feels like this big push to have it kind of everywhere, right? And if you can't have it
Popular
all the
now.
time, what does the training look like, and when can you have it, and does it have to be full time, and at what level do we need it, and do we need unarmed, or do we need armed? When and even within that, what kind of people do we need to have, right? I mean, and it goes on, and it's like there's always somebody there and again, I don't mean this in a negative connotation, but there's always somebody there to take advantage of it. And the
Right.
people that have been around, it feels like the people that have been around are now, starting to see it, even though there was success and things like that in the past, obviously. There just seems to be more of it, right? And when we were talking before, you're handing your phone off to somebody. Here, you take this, and we got this, and I'm slammed, and all. So I love hearing that. I love that that there's only so much time in a day to do
Right.
20-minute interview that we should probably get done in 15 minutes. Um, and so I love hearing that. But also I want to go back to something you said real briefly too, is that, I think I made a mistake in going to corrections, where fire I'd be eligible to retire. And it's like, well, all that good, bad, indifferent, ugly, but it all leads you to where you are. And when I look at that for myself, it's always like, well, I like where I am now, right? There's I could have made other decisions, but I don't know what I don't know. And so I'm not at a place where, I don't regret where I am, right? Sometimes you regret how you got here, but it's like, but that was part of it.
I wouldn't
Otherwise,
change it
it's
for the
not the
world.
same.
Yep.
And so you never know the alternative. And I say that all the time to a lot of people is like, you just don't know. And so I think, I think it seems to have worked out pretty well for you from an outsider's perspective, right? So
It could be a lot worse.
yeah,
It could,
100%.
and,
So, and you,
and
go ahead.
the other thing I'll just say real briefly
Yeah,
is,
please.
when it comes to EP too, and you're big into the EP world, and when it comes to EP, there's a lot of people out there that I've been blessed to call mentors. I won't put their names out there, but these are guys that were Secret Service head of special divisions of the Secret Service that are clients and friends and mentors of mine. Police officers that started their own company many years ago after getting off FBI task force and doing stuff like that. And these guys mentor me. And what you guys are doing with the mixers is why I wanted to be involved with it, because this is where the younger people can come into these mixers and start getting those relationships that the people can become their mentors and help them through and show them what worked for them, what didn't, and help guide them. So I tell you, that's one of the main reasons I wanted to be involved, because I want to be able to give back like I got given to me. And this is a perfect way to do it.
Well, I love that, and thank you for saying that. I mean, that's one of those things. I got a little bit of chills there, because that's one of those things that it gets overlooked, right? Because there's people that are coming to the industry, and it's like, I need a job. It's like, well, you're probably not, depending on what level, you're probably not going to walk into. If you're new to the industry, you're probably not going to walk into coverage. You might find yourself on halls and walls, and some odd weekend or certainly an RST maybe. But there's a process that you go through when you're new. Now, somebody coming out of the FBI, coming out of the FBI, coming to Secret Service, yeah, it's a little different. They're going because they want to understand. They go to a school because they want to understand how the civilian side does it. And they might walk into a client right out of the gate, but they've also done 20, 25 years
Right.
or 8 years protecting, people at the highest level, State Department folks, like you said, FBI bureau. One of the sponsors, their spokesperson for the company, at least for this event, he was in the ATF on their protection detail, or one of them, or however that works with the
Right.
ATF. And so, he walks into a great job, and he loves it. I mean, I love being here. So that's cool, and I appreciate you saying that. But yeah, one of the things that we found is that there are I finally broke down the analytics to what's coming in and who we've asked, and just about 40% of the people that attend the events, not the sponsors, just attendees, along with the sponsors, but there's about 40 to 45% of the people that are coming own businesses, right?
Right.
Now that could be a single person consultant, or that could be Josh Sullivan and Discreet. It could be any of the other sponsors that we have there, or people that are just around. And then the other side of that is about 35 to 40% rank themselves as other, right? Whether it's they're already working, or they're a director, CSO, CISO, right? EP manager. They're the smallest group are people that are seeking employment,
Right.
which is like, if you know that, you can go be one of the few and have a chance to talk to these people
Absolutely.
that could potentially be hiring for whatever you're looking for. You just got
Absolutely.
to get there, and I can't beat that into them enough.
And you never know, you truly never know which little job that you get picked on, because you know you meet somebody, they say, hey, I have a detail I need an extra person on, do you want to work it? They start working it, and at point blank, we had a huge scale detail that I ran for one of my colleagues in Virginia about last October maybe. And I mean, it huge client, huge. And we had about 15 people on 24/7. Huge, millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of assets and property and people that we were protecting. And I met somebody that worked for me that I got a resume. She came in and relatively new, but had a little bit of experience behind her, had a background in fire and EMS. And she is now a full-time employee on a ultra high net worth individual, working 2 weeks out of the month, making 100+ thousand a year. Based on a literal, hey, here's a one detail I just need some help with, and you shined and you met the right people, and it's just how it works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, that's what the EP mixer is, right? Come in
Yeah.
and rub elbows and talk to people, and you get to meet the people. I don't consider myself anything in this industry, right? Like in my brain, I'm still a new guy. You know,
Right.
I've ran some big details. I've ran details where we've had POTUS, VPOTUS, and almost half the cabinet at the single event that was over 3 or 4 days, and had to, you know, work with Secret Service and state police and Capitol Police and State Department and all this kind of stuff. And you know, I ran a couple of the Middle Eastern countries, foreign ministers details when they were in town, and ambassadors. And it's crazy who you can meet, especially in the DC area, right? Some of the list of people that we have right now as sponsors that we know will be there, and then, you know, all the other people that are coming. It is the place to be if you're trying to be in this industry.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that too. That's a great endorsement, and thank you for that. And to go back to it, and anybody who's new listening, that's how it starts. It's
Yep.
I have a 1 day detail. I have it. You know, you're not going to walk in. I think about it when I was there, and I probably shared this a number of times on these talks and these spotlights. But when I lived in Vegas, I was also I could work in California, and so I'd get a call and it'd say, you know, hey, are you available? Yeah, I'm available. Are you guys covering are you guys covering anything? We're not covering anything. No travel, no hotel, no food, nothing. I had my own little algorithm that is like I had to do this many hours at this rate to make sure that I could say yes to the job. And because I would find that, you know, the safest, the closest hotel that I could afford based on what I was made, I had it all mapped out, so I knew exactly what I had to do it, and it was for 3 days, and then that was it, and then maybe 2 days later, and then maybe I work in Vegas for a weekend, and it was just like you pieced it together, which worked out better for me until the bigger ones came, or until, whatever. And so that was just something, but that's how it starts.
It
Is
is.
that, unless that's what you do too. Like you live in Vegas, maybe you are just, off of everybody. You're on 5 different rosters and that works for you, and that's great. But if not, then but it still starts the same way
Absolutely.
more times than not, in my opinion. I
No,
could be
I agree.
totally off, but from
I
what
agree.
you're saying, it kind of sounds that way.
Yep.
Cool. So, well, I guess we talked about what you're excited about, a little bit already. Why you got into it. You kind of beat me. You kind of beat me there. And I know that you have things to do, so I appreciate your time being here. So, anybody who's listening, watching, where do they go to find out more about Discreet?
Absolutely. So we're on all the social media platforms. I need to delete the TikTok, you know, now that they're about to ban it, I think. But until they officially do, I'm gonna stay there, and you know, my non-government phone for contracting and all that. But you know, we're on all the social media. It's usually at DSSI MD, so Discrete Security Services Investigations, and then for Maryland, so
Mm-hmm.
DSSI MD. And then our website, dssimd.com. You can find all of our information. You know, if you're interested in classes, you're interested in, you know, kind of everything that we offer, the A.L.I.V.E program, you can find all of that there. And come meet me at the mixer.
Yeah.
All right. That's the
Yeah.
best, right? We'll be at the
Yeah.
mixer. I'll be there and have a ton of business cards and some cool stuff to give away to a couple people, bringing some coins to hand out. And so, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you know, there's enough. The cool part also about this EP mixer is, you know, we travel a lot. You know, Craig, you and I see each other all the time at different conferences around the country, and in the DC area, I'm very lucky to be very close with some of the other business owners here. So a lot of the business owners that are sponsoring, we all travel together as it is. We're all good friends, and we see each other
Yeah.
outside of work events, and you know, it's going to just be a good time, let alone a great mixer to kind of meet people and talk to people, and, you know, do business and learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, great. I appreciate that. It was funny. It was funny. I was asking, I think you got the email where I'm like, hey, do you guys know who you're bringing yet? And Telus calls me. He goes, dude, everybody that I call is already a sponsor. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, well, then that's fine too. So cool. Anyway, well, Josh, again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. I appreciate it. We'll let you get going here. But thanks. And I'll see you on Saturday, June 8th.
June 8th, can't wait.
Yeah, cool. So everybody, if you're still here, you're still listening, thank you so much for there was a lot of good stuff in there. But if you haven't registered, please consider it. Head over to epmixer.com, get yourself registered for Saturday, June 8th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I keep talking about it. We're trying the afternoon shift, see how that goes. Highline RXR in Arlington. And yeah, we'll see you there. That's all I got. Hope you have a great one. And I'll talk to you real soon.